Jamie Lee Arrow joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We have to watch some really difficult things, don't we, when we're doing this show? And I have to say, this is the most difficult thing I have ever watched because of the cruelty that was involved from your father to you during your childhood. I found it really, really distressing when you were just a little girl. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So when I grew up, I had my dad and my mum, and at my dad's house, it was like stepping into a horror movie. And my dad was very unpredictable. He could go from being the kindest, funniest, most charming dad to being this monster.
He had a fascination of the devil, didn't he? He was completely obsessed. How did that manifest itself, Jamie Lee? How did he express that fascination around you as a little girl?
So he often spoke about the devil and demons and such, and he always had these paintings and stuff all over the flat. And he was an artist himself, so he liked to draw the devil and demons and really scary pictures. And he always wanted me to believe that he wanted me to turn against God and instead worship the devil from a very young age.
And right from that early age, your mum and dad were split up. You lived with your mum, but you would go and see your dad too. But he'd make you watch horror movies. He'd tell you that faces were coming out of the wall. He taught you about voodoo dolls. It was really really traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could lay on the bed and in the darkness, and he would go like, "Do you see those faces all around us on the wall and the ceiling?" And I was very bullied when I was a child, and his solution to that was to give me a voodoo doll to use on my bullies. So that darkness was just so normal to me. It was my everyday life.
It's really interesting. So his girlfriend, Hella Christensen, came into your life. And I think you were really taken with her. When they first got together, it was a really lovely relationship and you were really drawn to her. She was a really lovely person, but it quite quickly turned, didn't it? How did that relationship deteriorate?
So when they first met, they were really nice to each other and I really liked her. I thought she was so beautiful and she was so funny, and she was not like the other girls he had introduced me to before. So I really started loving her, like, immediately. But they did meet at a mental institution, so they both had their problems.
Right.
And so that relationship turned very toxic very quickly, and they were not good for each other at all.
Your father eventually murdered her. How did you find out what had happened and that he was responsible?
So my mum actually sat me down after a long day of her being very sad and upset. And it was a very long process before she even told me. But when she sat me down, first I didn't want to hear it. I went like, "No, don't tell me, Mum, I don't want to know," because I realised it was going to be something really awful and I wanted to protect myself. But then she went, like, ripping off a Band-Aid. She went, "Helle is dead." And my first reaction to that was it Dad? And she went, "Yeah."
But you didn't fully understand the full brutality of the murder at that point. How old were you at that point when you first found out?
So I read the word cannibal on the newspapers like a few months after that, but I didn't know what cannibal meant.
Because you were about 9 years old?
Yeah. So I went and Googled it. But
so your mum protected you from the most gruesome details?
Yeah, she will not tell me that. I
No.
didn't go to school, I didn't go to shops, I didn't watch TV. Everything changed because she wanted...
To protect you?
Yeah.
But then you saw a newspaper with your father's picture and the word cannibal.
Yeah. So when I saw that, like, I froze. I didn't know what to do. Then I Googled the word cannibal, but it still didn't make sense to me. It was very hard, difficult words describing the word cannibal. But my mum went to me, please, Jamie, don't try to find out anything more because we are doing this to protect you. You don't want to find this out. So I actually didn't quite find out the whole story until my dad told me himself.
Yeah. Also, the reaction of other people. You must have been ostracised by friends and schoolmates and other people who knew the full story as well.
Yeah, so when I went back to school, like, all of my friends were acting differently towards me, and everyone was asking about the murder, about my dad. People were scared of me and my dad. So it really felt like I had been robbed of my identity after the murder.
Yeah.
Interestingly, in the documentary, you talk about the fact that you remained connected to your father and you sort of went and spent a lot of time with him through your teenage years, which were very troubled years for you as well. You were drinking a lot, you were taking a lot of drugs, and yet he was the only person that wasn't judging you. And he sort of, and that relationship, you probably got closer during that time.
Yeah.
With the trauma that you were dealing with. Do you think he was drawing on that to get you close to him?
Yeah, so he knew that my mum wasn't agreeing with my drug addiction and...
Which, as a mother yourself now, you can understand,
I
right?
understand, yes, definitely. Now I see everything from a whole new perspective. So my dad became the one I turned to because he was the only one that was accepting of my lifestyle. It wasn't judging me and was treating me the same way. So it was only natural for me to become closer to him.
Because he also wasn't in a prison. He was in a psychiatric ward.
Yeah.
So you could then go and visit him, and then you actually became closer and closer again for a short period of time.
Yeah. So I didn't see him for 2 years after the murder.
Yeah.
But then I was tricked into seeing him again. And when I first saw him, he was so normal, and he didn't even mention the murder. And when I started seeing him on my own, he slowly started brainwashing me into becoming like him. And he made himself my entire universe, basically.
You eventually, within that period, suddenly your relationship broke down because there was a moment when he became quite violent and aggressive towards you.
Yeah.
And it was scary. And so in the period when in the documentary, it's 4 years since you've seen him, he actually agrees to sit down with you and be interviewed regarding the murder and what he did to Helle Christensen. What was that like for you, Jamie Lee, sitting down in front of your father and him talking so calmly about the brutality of what he'd committed?
So, because of the circumstances, it was a very special situation to be in with all of the cameras, and it was not the way I had imagined it to be when I sat down to talk to him. But it's hard, you know. I would always love my dad. I don't love what he did, but it's hard to sit there and watch someone so evil and try to talking to me and try not to feel the love for them and trying to remind myself that this person is not good for me. This person is not... I can't have him in my life. So it was very sad for me to sit there and talk to him and to watch him being that unwell.
I think that's one of the things that comes across from the documentary is just how manipulative he was of you from a very young age. You've now got a boy and a little girl of your own.
Yeah.
Will you see him again, do you think? And would you allow them to see him?
Never. In a million years. I can't control what they do when they are grown, but as long as they are under my care, I will never, ever let them see him. I will never introduce that darkness to them.
It's an extraordinary thing, Jamie Lee, to hear you say, and it speaks to the power of a child's love for their parents, that you still love your father. You don't love what he did, but you still love your father, despite, as Kat described, the manipulation and the cruelty that he inflicted on you as a child, despite the graphic brutality of what he did, what that meant for your life, what you went through in your teenage years, that you still have that love there for the idea of who he was.
I believe it's pretty much impossible to stop loving your parents. And I know that now. He can do whatever in the world, and I will keep loving him. But that doesn't mean he can be a part of my life, and that doesn't mean I agree with anything that he's doing.
No.
And it's sad, and it's like I'm grieving on a live person, because he might as well be dead.
I think it's indicative of the importance when you're a parent, if you have children, of just how powerful that bond is, and it needs to be nurtured and respected and loved, because that enduring love is extraordinary.
Yeah, it is.
We did reach out to your father for comment, but he hasn't responded. Jamie Lee, thank you for sitting down and talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is a remarkable documentary. It's not easy to watch, but
No, it really isn't.
your calmness and your eloquence is just phenomenal within it. You can watch Evil Lives Here. The Killer Speaks on Discovery Plus. Right? Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.